Okay, clase, these are your notes on something called infinitives, or in Spanish we say infinitivos. So you need to cut and paste these notes into your interactive notebook in página 30, so page 30. Also make sure once you're done cutting and pasting, you highlight the appropriate things that need to be highlighted and also put your title at the top. You could call it infinitivos, you could call it infinitives, or you could also put verbs or Spanish verbs, because that's essentially what they are. So whoever the instructor is or the teacher at the time, please pause the video, give the students enough time to cut, paste, highlight, and then we'll come back and I will teach you what infinitives are. Okay, so infinitives are actually something very, very simple in Spanish, and very simply they are verbs. So just like verbs in English are action words like dance, walk, talk, all of those things. They're the same thing in Spanish, except they function just a little bit differently. In English, we are able to say I walk, she walks, we walked, etc. But in Spanish, an infinitive indicates the most basic form of a verb, and in English they're easy to spot because usually it has the word to in front of them. So to swim, to read, to write. Okay, but in Spanish we don't have that word to in front of it. It's all just a part of the same word. So there are 3 different kinds of Spanish verbs or infinitives, and we translate them to sing, to dance, all those still, but they are all one word. Like nadar is an AR infinitive or AR verb, and this action is to swim. Then we have ER infinitives, so it ends with ER. This is leer, which means to read. And then escribir is an IR infinitive or IR verb, and this means to write. So we don't have 2 separate words for infinitives like we do in English, or 2 words that go along with the infinitive: to swim, to read, to write. It's all in the same word. But they are 3 different kinds, which is important to remember: AR, ER, and IR. So anytime you see a word in Spanish that ends with AR, ER, IR, you know automatically that that is a verb in its purest form, which the official name for that is an infinitive. So that's very basically what it is. So very, very, very easy. We're going to go to the other side of the page. I'll give you a second if you would like to set this page up. You can put another title at the top. This page should be going on page 29 of your interactive notebook, and if you would like to highlight the way I did, you can. And then, so pause the video, give those who want a chance to highlight those 4 simple things a chance to do that, and then we'll come back and I'll tell you what we're doing with this side of the page. Okay, so I'm actually going to move this, and I'm going to use this paper. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at your vocabulary list, your new vocabulary list. We're going to go down the page, and we're going to separate the different infinitives, all the infinitives that we can find in this list. Okay, so we'll do a few together, and then I'll give you the rest of the time to finish the rest on your own. Alright, so the first, if you're looking at your vocabulary list, which you should, for going down the list, the very first infinitive is to dance, because it ends with an AR, and it's an action word. So what we're going to do is we're going to put bailar right here. Okay, right in number 1, because that's an AR verb. If it's going to be an ER verb, we're going to put it down here. All the IR verbs are going to go down here, and by the end of once you've gone through your whole entire list, all of this should be filled up, and all of the infinitives from our chapter will be here. Alright, and if we're going back down, the next one is to sing, which is cantar, and that is another AR verb. So we're going to put that in number 2. Okay. Número tres, or the third one down, is correr. Well, correr ends with ER, so we're going to put it right there. The next verb is dibujar, which is an AR verb, so we're going to put it under AR verbs. The AR verbs are the most common. You're going to see those a lot. That's why we have 16 of those, and then the other two are less common. Okay, and then the next word is escribir, which is an IR verb, so that's one of the IR verbs down here. I'm not going to put cuentos because cuentos is a noun, stories. That is not a verb, so we're not going to put the nouns or anything else that's attached to the word or the phrase in your book. We're just going to put the infinitives here. Okay, so I want you to, by yourself or with a partner, try to finish the rest of this. Just go right down your list, pick out all of the infinitives that you can find, and then we'll come back, check, and see how you did. Okay, so you should have finished separating all of the infinitives into where they belong. We stopped up here with dibujar. You should have also found esquiar, to ski, estudiar, to study, hablar, to talk or to speak, jugar, to play sports or video games, montar, to ride, and I know we have 2 of those on your list, but we're not going to put that on there twice. Nadar, to swim, pasar, to spend or to pass, patinar, to skate, practicar, to practice, tocar, to play instruments, trabajar, to work, usar, to use. And then gusta comes from, gusta and gustan, come from the verb gustar, which means to like, which that's not on your list, but it is a verb, one of the important verbs in your chapter. And then down here you should have filled in leer, to read, ver or ver, to watch or to see, and hacer, to do or to make. And then lastly we have this really small little verb, which is ir, means to go, so like to go to school. Okay, so that finishes this lesson on infinitive. So just in summary, an infinitive or infinitivo, as we would say in Spanish, is the most basic form of a verb, and there are 3 types of them, which are AR, ER, and IR, which makes them very easy to identify. So anytime in Spanish you see a word that ends in AR, ER, IR, you know automatically that is an infinitive, the most basic form of a verb.